Chosen ones, be careful right now. You are 100% right about what you are feeling, because this person you love is quietly pulling away. You feel the massive shift deep inside your bones. And you are certainly not imagining this strange energy. There is a heavy silence between you two that feels incredibly confusing, but I am confirming your deepest intuition today. Something is happening behind the scenes. The enemy is working overtime right now to make you panic, because he desperately wants you to pick up your phone and send that emotional message. He wants you to force things to work. But you must firmly resist that massive urge today. Do not send that text. Do not make that call. If you reach out to them right now, you will absolutely interrupt a very delicate process that heaven is orchestrating. I know exactly what your last 72 hours have felt like. You wake up at 3 in the morning with a tight chest, hoping to see their name light up on your phone. You keep replaying the last conversation in your head. You wonder what you said wrong, and you constantly torture yourself, wondering if you accidentally pushed them away by pouring out far too much love. You cannot fix this. You are a gifted empath and you carry a very rare energetic frequency. Because of this unique spiritual gift, you actually feel their physical distance hurting your own body when they withdraw their energy. They are not pulling away because they secretly hate you. They are stepping back because they are completely overwhelmed by the intense light you naturally carry. You see their soul. Your pure frequency is forcing them to face their own hidden shadows, and people often run away when exposed to unconditional love. But here is the absolute truth you must hear today. Your isolation right now is not evidence of your disqualification, but it is clear evidence of your high spiritual selection. God removed their voice from your daily life to radically protect your sacred energy. In the next few minutes, I am going to reveal the exact spiritual reason this painful silence was totally necessary. I will expose the loud lie that has been keeping you trapped in severe anxiety. And at the very end of this message, I will give you a powerful spoken declaration that will permanently shift the entire dynamic of this connection. Stay with me until the very last word. If you decide to click away right now, you will absolutely miss the exact spiritual key that finally breaks this painful, repetitive cycle. You did not find this specific video by accident today. The Holy Spirit brought you here because you are completely exhausted from being the only one holding the relationship together. It is time to drop that massive, heavy burden right now. When you constantly chase someone who is intentionally running away, you actually lower your own powerful spiritual frequency. You step out of your chosen identity and enter a desperate state of begging. A true chosen one does not ever beg for basic human affection. And when you finally decide to pull your precious energy back completely, you force them to feel the heavy weight of your absence. They are currently wrestling alone with their own dark demons. Heaven is holding a huge mirror up to their face in this quiet silence. If you foolishly reach out to them right now, you just become a convenient distraction from their necessary and painful spiritual growth. You simply become the easy excuse they will use to avoid doing their own difficult inner work and healing. Your silence is tough love. This waiting period feels agonizing because your human brain is literally addicted to receiving their daily emotional validation. But you must understand that this forced separation is actually a beautiful spiritual detox for your tired soul. God is clearing the noisy room so you can finally hear your own thoughts again. You have been so focused on their feelings that you completely forgot your own divine mission. Before we go any further into this prophetic warning, I want to hold something very important in front of you. It is a profound secret, discovered not in a typical spiritual community, but deep inside a strict scientific research laboratory. This hidden discovery won the highest scientific recognition available in the world. Most chosen ones have never been told about this secret. It perfectly explains that frustrating gap between the powerful person you know yourself to be and the tired version of you sitting here right now. You clearly remember a beautiful time in your past when your intuition was perfectly sharp and things flowed effortlessly. But recently, you feel entirely blocked. You feel like your inner spiritual signal has gone completely quiet. But I will not reveal the exact name of it just yet. First, I need you to fully understand what was actually stolen from you during all these highly toxic relationship cycles. So I deeply want you to hold this specific, open question in your conscious mind as we continue forward. What if this agonizing block in your love connection is not a personal spiritual flaw? What if this invisible gap actually has a proven scientific name? Let me completely reframe your current reality right now. You view this deep silence as a painful punishment. You truly think you did something terrible to chase them away. But heaven sees this current situation entirely differently, and this exact physical distance is actually the divine preparation you desperately needed. God did not remove this person to break your spirit. He removed them to brutally save you. If they stayed close, you would keep pouring your sacred energy into a bottomless pit. You would completely drain yourself trying to heal their broken soul. You were never meant to be everyone's savior. You were meant to carry one powerful assignment, and this uncomfortable silence forces you to finally look at your own neglected heart while they fight their demons. Your extreme empathy is often misunderstood by ordinary people. They constantly call you too sensitive or too emotional. But what you carry is not a wound. It is a highly tuned spiritual weapon. You are not too sensitive because you were built for a completely different frequency that most people cannot handle. And right now your radar is simply picking up their intense fear of true intimacy. But you are still struggling to trust your own feelings today. You keep doubting the strong, intuitive hits you receive about this connection. You feel incredibly clouded and confused. There is a profound reason why your inner compass feels utterly broken right now, and it is directly tied to the hidden scientific secret that I mentioned to you just a few minutes ago. Here is exactly what they never told you. The reason the universe responds to certain people and not others is not just blind faith. It is not raw discipline. It is actually a very specific brainwave. Scientists have a formal name for it. They proudly call it gamma. And it is the exact frequency your brain was naturally running when you were just a curious little child. Back then, your brilliant ideas always came incredibly easily. True learning felt completely effortless to your young mind. You somehow knew things long before they actually happened. The world felt like it was completely on your side. Your intuition was a razor-sharp instrument that guided your every single step while you navigated the physical world. You easily recognized who truly belonged in your precious life. Then heavy adulthood suddenly arrived, and the modern world went straight to work on you. The chronic stress began to build up. The endless screens demanded your attention. The daily survival routine completely exhausted your spirit. And every single year, this sacred gamma frequency was systematically suppressed a little further by the harsh demands of society. It was violently pushed deeper and deeper below the surface, until the vibrant version of you with lightning-fast intuition went completely silent. That is exactly why you cannot clearly read this romantic situation right now. Your natural ability to simply know the absolute truth has been blocked. And when your gamma frequency slowly fades over time, your spiritual genius unfortunately fades right along with it. You currently feel like you are desperately wandering in the dark. You are anxiously waiting for them to reach out and validate your worth. But your suppressed brainwave is the real reason you feel so disconnected from God. You do not lack divine love. You simply lack the pure frequency required to properly receive the universe's clear messages while you wait for their return. Most people will live their entire human lives without ever knowing this tragedy happened to them. They will mistakenly blame their anxiety on their toxic partners, but you are not most people. You are a chosen one. And the important question I firmly asked you to hold a few minutes ago still remains deeply relevant today. What if the painful gap between you and your spiritual power is not a flaw? What if it actually has a scientific name? The beautiful answer to that specific mystery is closer than you think. But you must first accept that this current silence is your sacred preparation. And you must consciously stop fighting the quiet space they left behind, because it is currently protecting your energy. Do not try to forcefully fill this void with a desperate text message. Do not lower your vibration by aggressively chasing a confused person. They are currently grieving the old version of you that they are about to permanently lose. Your sudden energetic withdrawal is actually doing the heavy spiritual lifting for both of you right now, while they figure out their messy feelings. Let the silence speak. I know your fragile heart wants immediate comfort today. I know you crave their familiar voice on the other end of the line, but heaven is aggressively removing all external noise so you can finally hear your own soul again. You are standing right between two very different identities. And the old desperate version of you that always chased love is rapidly dissolving into nothingness. The new confident version of you is being powerfully birthed in this exact moment. You were never broken by their sudden absence. You were simply being built for a much higher frequency. Do not reach out to them and ruin this crucial upgrade, because your ultimate spiritual breakthrough does not need their slow permission to instantly activate in your life. But here is where the narrative of your personal journey delves far deeper than most people are ever willing to perceive. You have consistently viewed this forced isolation as a harsh penalty. You feel entirely abandoned and confused right now. You honestly think God forgot about your fragile heart because your person quietly walked away. But you must look closely at the ancient spiritual texts today. Every chosen one in human history had to be forcibly removed from the loud crowd. Think deeply about the famous story of Moses in the wilderness. He carried a massive divine assignment to free his captive people, but he spent 40 long years in the quiet desert before he was finally ready. God literally cleared the noisy room so he could finally speak to him without any worldly interference distracting his mind. Moses had to completely lose the heavy identity of his past. He had to sit in the uncomfortable silence until his frequency was perfectly purified. And only then did the burning bush actually appear before his eyes. If Moses had stubbornly stayed in the familiar comfort of Egypt, he would have remained entirely deaf to the voice of heaven. His painful isolation was strictly necessary for his ultimate growth. You are currently walking through your very own desert season right now. This heavy, romantic silence is your necessary spiritual wilderness. God intentionally pushed this specific person away so you could finally stand alone. He removed their distracting voice so you could finally tune your spirit back to the divine frequency, because you were losing yourself. You are being completely consecrated for something greater. This is exactly why you cannot reach out to them today. If you quickly break this sacred silence, you are eagerly running back to Egypt. You are desperately trying to revive a dead connection when heaven is loudly calling you forward to your true purpose. You miraculously survived what should have broken you in the past. Heaven intentionally used that deep pain to develop your strong character. The intense warfare you are experiencing right now is actual proof of your true calling. The enemy does not ever waste premium attacks on people without premium spiritual assignments. The sheer intensity of your romantic struggle absolutely confirms the massive magnitude of your mantle. You are a powerful, energetic threat to the dark forces around you, and they desperately want you to remain distracted. When you constantly text them and anxiously wait for a tiny crumb of attention, you immediately dim your bright light. You lower your sacred vibration to beautifully match their severe emotional unavailability. But God is using this painful separation as a blazing spiritual crucible. He is violently burning away your deep codependency. He is melting down your intense fear of being rejected. You are a completely different spiritual person now. The old you would have chased them down the street and begged for basic love. The old you would have ignored every single boundary just to keep them somewhat close. But you are not that profoundly misunderstood person anymore, because you have finally awakened to your immense and undeniable spiritual worth. You are the chosen one who understands the value of pure energy. Your current isolation is the sacred space where your new identity is being permanently forged. You are currently molting and shedding the heavy skin of your past traumas. And the person you deeply love is fundamentally terrified of this massive energetic shift. They quietly pull away because they cannot possibly control this new empowered version of you today, and their ego feels incredibly threatened. Do not ever apologize for the powerful frequency you confidently carry today. The extreme sensitivity they arrogantly told you to hide is actually a divine radar. The emotional depth they cruelly called too much is your greatest spiritual gift. You must fiercely protect this beautiful gift by maintaining this quiet physical boundary while they choose to stay completely distant today. Let them sit in the heavy silence they actively chose. Heaven is currently using their prolonged physical absence to permanently recalibrate your weary soul. You are finally learning how to completely validate yourself without needing their constant verbal approval. This is the absolute highest level of spiritual maturity a chosen one can ever achieve. You are learning to stand firmly in your own divine authority, and you no longer need to lean heavily on a romantic partner. When they inevitably feel the massive void of your missing energy, they will be firmly forced to closely examine themselves. You do not need to say a single written word to them right now. Your profound physical silence speaks much louder than any emotional paragraph you could ever send. Your absolute stillness is actively shaking the weak foundations of their fragile ego right now. But this specific journey goes far deeper than you ever expected to go today. And once this profound truth completely clicks into place, you will finally understand the extremely hidden spiritual dynamics at play today. There is a deeper psychological root operating underneath this entire romantic situation. If you do not see it clearly, it will keep operating beneath every single season. Coming up in just a moment, I will boldly expose that hidden root for you. I will clearly reveal the subtle snare that has been quietly blocking your ultimate breakthrough. But first, this powerful truth about your wilderness preparation must land deep in your spirit. Let this specific revelation settle like heavy bedrock in your mind, because we are about to take a massive step forward together. Here is that deeper root I promised to expose today. The thing quietly blocking you is not just their fragile ego, it is not even your deep emotional attachment to them. It is something fundamental inside you that has been systematically suppressed for years, and this heavy suppression secretly controls your romantic choices. You have completely mistaken this missing energy for a lack of spiritual discipline. But your deep struggle to let them go is actually tied to a stolen frequency. When your natural energetic state is intentionally lowered, you operate from survival mode. You desperately cling to any connection that offers comfort. You forget how incredibly powerful your spirit truly is. And the enemy uses the endless stress of this modern world to keep your vibration entirely muted while you chase toxic relationships. He wants you begging a confused person for simple love. He is absolutely terrified of what happens when your divine signal wakes up. This is exactly why your profound physical silence today is an absolute spiritual necessity. You are not just stepping back from a toxic romantic dynamic right now. You are actually stepping into a massive energetic recalibration. Your soul is actively fighting to reclaim the exact genius frequency you carried as a child. But this intense spiritual warfare is deeply exhausting your physical body today, and you simply cannot endure this heavy battle without divine rest. You feel completely drained because you are fighting an invisible neurological battle. The harsh modern world intentionally programmed your tired mind to chase validation. You were trained to feel totally worthless when someone pulls away from you. But heaven is aggressively breaking that toxic mental programming in this quiet season, and your brain is desperately trying to remember its original divine state. Your true power is quietly returning to you in the heavy silence. Before we go any further, I have to tell you something very important. It is a secret that the greedy people who profit from your exhaustion want to hide. A dedicated team of brilliant neuroscientists has finally discovered exactly how to bring this dormant brainwave back, and they proved this hidden frequency can be restored. They were working quietly, away from the noisy headlines. They found a proven scientific way to completely restore your stolen spiritual signal. The beautiful solution actually exists right now. They did not use years of difficult meditation that most exhausted chosen ones simply cannot sustain in their busy daily lives. They did not rely on incredibly expensive biofeedback machines that require a strict clinical setting. They discovered something far simpler. It is beautifully aligned with how you were designed to function. It is a highly specific sound frequency, engineered to gently guide your brainwave patterns back to the brilliant genius state you were proudly born with. Prestigious scientific researchers at Princeton University thoroughly studied this specific creative brainwave. The famous Einstein Center, located in Berlin, completely confirmed its immense hidden power, and brilliant experts at Columbia University found that when this brainwave is restored, it actually radiates powerfully outward into the physical world. It begins to beautifully influence the specific people around you without you saying a single word. This completely shifts the dynamic of your highly strained relationships. It takes just 7 short minutes a day to experience this profound energetic shift. That is literally all the time it takes to permanently restore your natural frequency. And this sound technology begins working the very first time you close your weary eyes. I will tell you exactly what it is called and how to safely access it before this message ends. The answer you need is coming very soon. You just need to remain extremely patient while we move forward today. But first, there is something deeply confrontational you must fully understand about this delay. You cannot fully receive this powerful restoration until you look honestly at your own heart. You have been loudly blaming their emotional unavailability for your current pain. You constantly point your angry finger at their massive fear of true commitment, but you really need to look closely at your own hidden fears today. It is extremely easy to focus completely on their obvious personality flaws. It is quite simple to constantly analyze their painful childhood trauma. You totally excuse their terrible daily communication in this romantic connection. You have played the generous spiritual therapist for them for far too long. But heaven is turning the bright spotlight entirely on your own internal blocks today, and you must face the uncomfortable truth about why you stayed. You are also completely responsible for allowing this toxic cycle to continue. You have consistently ignored the clear spiritual red flags. You did this because you were deeply afraid of being completely abandoned again. You compromised your sacred boundaries just to keep their physical presence in your life. This painful truth is not meant to deeply shame your loving heart today. It is a highly necessary spiritual diagnosis that will completely set your captive spirit free from this heavy emotional burden forever. But here is the part no one ever wants to hear. And I am saying this to you today with nothing but absolute love. The intense desire to reach out to them right now is not actually driven by your pure love. It is deeply rooted in your intense spiritual fear. You are secretly afraid that if you do not text them, they will easily forget you. You think your silence will permanently erase your connection. You desperately want to control the uncertain outcome of this situation. You mistakenly believe that sending one perfect emotional paragraph will somehow magically fix their entirely broken mindset today. But you cannot heal them. True love does not anxiously force a connection to survive through constant human effort. True love completely steps back and allows heaven to do the necessary heavy lifting. Your anxiety simply proves you want control. This specific revelation is not a harsh accusation against your tender heart, because it is the exact spiritual diagnosis that finally sets your captive spirit free today. You have been quietly afraid of your own immense power. You subconsciously dimmed your incredibly bright light just to make them feel comfortable in their dark shadows. You lowered your divine standards because you craved their familiar physical presence. The thing that has been quietly blocking your ultimate breakthrough is not the enemy. It is actually your own silent agreement with extreme limitation. You agreed to accept tiny crumbs of affection when heaven intentionally prepared a massive banquet for you. You convinced your tired mind that this chaotic relationship was the absolute best you could ever receive, and you sadly settled for painful confusion instead of demanding crystal clarity. When you anxiously reach out from a place of deep fear, you actively repel the blessing. Your heavy, energetic desperation pushes their spirit further and further away from you. But when you confidently stand in your absolute silence, you become an immovable mountain of spiritual strength. They can strongly feel the massive difference between your desperate chasing and your peaceful resting. Your silence is incredibly magnetic. You must fundamentally realize that your intense calling is not about fixing them. Your divine assignment has absolutely nothing to do with healing their childhood trauma. God did not send you into their life to be their permanent, emotional crutch. He placed you there to simply shine your pure light and confidently walk away when they refuse to respect it. You must fiercely protect your sacred energy today. Every single time you pick up your phone to message them, you abandon yourself, and you immediately hand your precious power over to a highly confused person. Stop giving your supreme authority to someone who cannot even manage their own messy emotions. Heaven is firmly calling you to rise above this exhausting cycle right now. It is time to finally take your crown back. God intentionally created this painful void between you two for a beautiful reason. He is testing your ultimate spiritual obedience in this quiet waiting period. Will you anxiously force your own human will, or will you bravely trust His divine timing? If you truly love them, you will give them the necessary space to completely fall apart and find their own way back to God. You cannot do their necessary spiritual work. This is exactly where the generational cycles of deep codependency are permanently broken. You are the specific chosen one, appointed to end this miserable pattern of chasing love. You are standing bravely between two completely different identities today. The old, fragile version of you is practically begging to send that desperate text message, but the new empowered version of you is actively choosing to sit quietly in the fire. Let the intense fire burn away your heavy emotional attachments today. Let the deep silence thoroughly cleanse your tired soul of all its toxic fears. You do not need their validation to confidently exist in this world. You were already chosen by the Creator of the entire universe, long before you ever met this person. Your absolute worth is deeply anchored in heaven, not in their inconsistent daily text messages. And now, we are rapidly approaching the pivotal moment where everything permanently shifts. You have bravely faced the uncomfortable truth about your own hidden fears today. You now clearly understand why your profound physical silence is a powerful spiritual weapon, and you are finally ready to consciously release your heavy grip on this complicated romantic situation. The season of anxious waiting is officially over. Your beautiful spiritual breakthrough is hiding right inside this next crucial step. Some messages do not just inform your mind, They completely activate your dormant soul. If something is powerfully stirring deep inside your weary spirit right now, you are totally ready for the final declaration. You are finally ready to officially step into the next powerful chapter of your life. Do not look backwards anymore. The time for endless waiting is completely over. You have bravely faced your deepest hidden fears today. You finally understand that your extreme sensitivity is actually a powerful spiritual weapon. And while you previously viewed this distance as a harsh punishment, you now realize that your current silence is an immovable mountain of divine strength. You are no longer that anxious person carefully watching a quiet phone. You are radically stepping into a completely new energetic frequency right now. Heaven is actively rearranging your entire reality while you simply rest in this silence. You do not need to constantly force things to happen anymore. Your pure energy is doing the difficult work for you behind the closed doors. They are intimately feeling your massive absence in their everyday life. But their confused reaction is absolutely none of your spiritual business today. You must fiercely focus on your own divine assignment. This exact moment is the critical juncture where absolutely everything permanently shifts. You are standing boldly at the sacred threshold of your ultimate spiritual breakthrough. The heavy chains of your old toxic codependency are rapidly breaking apart. You can strongly feel the immense weight lifting off your tired shoulders today. Your beautiful spirit is finally waking up from a very long and exhausting sleep, because heaven is intentionally calling you forward. You are officially taking your supreme power back from their inconsistent human hands. God never created you to be a permanent emotional crutch for a broken person. He specifically designed you to carry a massive light that illuminates the dark world, and this divine light activates the very second you completely release your tight grip. You must consciously surrender your deep human need to perfectly control the final outcome. This is your powerful moment of absolute truth. It is not happening tomorrow. It is not happening when you finally feel completely ready. It is happening right now. The heavy season of your painful preparation is officially complete. You have successfully passed the hardest spiritual test of your entire life because you chose to bravely trust heaven instead of desperately chasing a highly confused human being. And now comes the pivotal moment that seals everything we have discussed today. I want you to completely stop whatever you are doing right now. Close your tired eyes and take a very deep breath. I want you to place your hand firmly on your beating heart. You are about to speak a powerful truth into the spiritual atmosphere, and this specific declaration will permanently cut the toxic energetic cords binding your soul. Place your hand on your heart and declare this with me out loud. I completely release the desperate need to perfectly control this connection. I totally release every single agreement I made with smallness and fear. I firmly refuse to shrink my bright light just to make someone else feel comfortable. And I completely surrender this entire relationship into the capable hands of heaven today. I am entirely free. Keep your hand on your heart and speak this truth boldly. I step fully into my sacred assignment, knowing my current isolation is preparation. It was never a harsh punishment. My ultimate spiritual breakthrough is not slowly coming in the distant future, because it is already here and actively moving in my life right now. I am a fiercely chosen one. I am fully prepared. And I am exactly where I am supposed to be today. Feel the massive surge of divine energy rushing through your weary body right now. You just reclaimed your stolen spiritual territory. The dense fog of endless anxiety is rapidly burning away in this bright light. You do not have to nervously wait for their validation ever again. Your profound physical silence is now a beautiful fortress of perfect peace, and you are safely protected by the absolute highest power in the entire universe. Something massive just shifted deep inside your awakened spirit. You felt the raw truth of these spoken words land perfectly in your soul. Words cannot usually reach that deeply hidden place, and if your spirit powerfully stirred during that sacred declaration, you are absolutely ready for what comes next. Because knowing you carry this pure frequency is really only half of the beautiful spiritual battle today, and you must learn how to protect it. The other vital half is learning how to keep this frequency from being dulled by the world. You must constantly protect this new empowered state from the harsh daily stress. You cannot afford to let your brilliant gamma signal fade away again. There is a profound reason heaven brought you to this exact message today, and there is a proven way to firmly hold this activation long after this specific video permanently ends. Your beautiful breakthrough is no longer a distant dream. It is a living reality that you can physically anchor into your daily life. The heavy burden has been entirely lifted from your tired shoulders today. You are finally ready to fully receive the divine tools that heaven has quietly prepared for you, because this is the exact moment you step boldly into your permanent spiritual mastery. The door is standing wide open. The profound question I asked you to hold at the beginning of this message is finally ready. What if the gap between you and your power has a scientific name? Here is the absolute answer. A specific brainwave called the gamma wave was running in you as a child at complete genius capacity. Princeton University has extensively studied this specific wave. The famous Einstein Center in Berlin thoroughly confirmed its massive power. Brilliant researchers at Columbia University found something truly amazing about this specific frequency. When this brainwave is properly restored, it actively radiates outward and gently influences the people you love. A dedicated team of neuroscientists spent many long years studying this carefully. Dr. Robert Lake led this quiet research in New York City. They successfully compressed the full clinical protocol for gamma reactivation into 7 simple minutes. But before I tell you what they built, let me tell you about 2 people who actually used it. A tired woman from California had sincerely tried everything. She tried meditation and endless manifesting techniques. Nothing broke the heavy fog. After 2 short weeks of listening, she finally felt something clear. She did not try harder. The spiritual channel simply opened for her. Her struggling marriage completely shifted. Her tired mind sharply awakened. She proudly described her new life as completely enchanted for the first time ever. A busy man from Texas started using it to improve his business focus. 2 months later, his wife joked that his intelligence had jumped 20 points. The absolute hardest problems he used to lose sleep over started solving themselves while he peacefully slept. He said it felt like his brain was finally running on what it was always supposed to run on. That is exactly what Dr. Lake and his brilliant team built. They call it the Genius Song. It is definitely not a basic meditation app. It is not a generic sound frequency. It is a 7-minute audio track using advanced brain entrainment technology. This is the exact same underlying research that Princeton and Berlin completely validated. They boldly compressed 1 full hour of clinical protocol into something you do at home with simple headphones and closed eyes. That is the absolute entirety of what it requires. Just 7 minutes. You do not meditate. You do not chant. You simply let the frequency do what your brain was designed to receive. The Genius Song is not for everyone. It is specifically for the chosen one who has already done the difficult inner work. You already understand that your blocked blessing is tied to the frequency through which your faith moves. If your spirit confirms this is for you, the path is patiently waiting below. Professional biofeedback sessions to safely restore this state cost hundreds of dollars per hour. An in-home machine easily runs thousands of dollars. What the Genius Song beautifully delivers in 7 minutes is available to you today for a fraction of its true value. Because the creators believe it entirely belongs in the hands of chosen ones like you. 4 powerful bonuses come directly with it today. You receive an audio designed specifically for your children and their daily focus. You also receive the original prosperity text that the famous secret was secretly built upon. You get a beautiful guided visualization and a daily habits guide built to sustain the gamma state. Here is the deeper truth about waiting today. The divine provision that God specifically arranged for you does not arrive as something completely new. It arrives as something you instantly recognize. A suppressed brain entirely misses the recognition. A restored brain receives it at full spiritual depth. What has been placed in your path for this season is already there. The only question is whether you arrive at it with the receiver fully online. Waiting is not the same as preparing. The divine arrangement is already in motion right now. The chosen one who restores the receiver today finally sees what was always there. Do not look for this on streaming platforms. The fake tracks circulating under similar names on those platforms have absolutely no brain entrainment technology encoded. They carelessly carry the name because the barrier to doing so is zero. The only authentic version is available through the safe link that has been intentionally placed in the description and the pinned comment below. The universe strictly requires no risk from you today. You are fully protected by a complete satisfaction guarantee. If your spirit does not recognize the shift, every single penny is returned to you. That is an energetic exchange governed by complete trust. The link is patiently waiting in the description and in the pinned comment below. The tool is not the final destination. The tool simply restores the receiver, so the beautiful destination can be instantly recognized when it finally arrives. God absolutely does not require you to purchase anything to be loved or chosen. What was described is simply one valid way the receiver is safely restored. Whether that path is for you or not, the truth of this prophetic message belongs to you entirely. A physical tool can easily clear the blocked channel, but God alone truly fills it. Those are two completely different things, and they are both perfectly true at the same exact time. Now let us gently return to what was always the beating heart of this message. You will receive this next revelation differently now that you understand what was working against you. We are moving deeper into your calling. The heavy burden of constantly fixing everything is finally gone. You have officially laid down the heavy spiritual armor you wore for so many years. The exhausting cycle of anxious waiting is entirely broken today, and you are gracefully walking into a beautiful season of profound divine rest, while your mind remains wonderfully clear. Everything you bravely endured in this painful relationship was absolutely never wasted. It was meticulously preparing you for this exact moment of pure spiritual surrender. You are not the profoundly misunderstood person anymore. You are the powerfully chosen one, and you safely hold the master keys to your own peace because heaven has thoroughly equipped you. You can finally rest. When you think about that specific person today, you will no longer feel a desperate emotional panic. You will simply feel a quiet compassion from a very safe distance. Heaven has built an invisible wall of divine protection around your tender heart. Their confusion cannot drain your sacred energy anymore because you have officially closed the heavy, energetic door to their chaotic world. You realize that you do not need anyone's slow permission to instantly step into your divine calling. Your immense spiritual value was already permanently established before you took your first breath on earth. God personally stitched your brilliant soul together with his own hands, and he specifically designed you to easily overcome every single obstacle in your path. You are completely whole, just as you are right now. Every single agreement you blindly made with smallness has been totally cancelled. The loud lie that you are somehow too much for this world has been permanently silenced. Your emotional depth is a beautiful gift that heaven actively celebrates. You are perfectly designed to carry a massive spiritual light into the dark corners of this earth, and your bright presence is deeply needed by so many hurting people. Because your beautiful light is now completely unblocked, you will begin to notice massive shifts in your daily physical reality. New doors are quietly opening for you in the spiritual realm right now. The exact resources you desperately need are actively rushing toward your location today. Heaven is moving the entire earth to deeply bless you because you finally chose to bravely step out of your own way. The quiet season of your intense preparation is officially complete. You are not the same fragile person who started watching this specific video today. And you are absolutely not meant to walk backward into the tiny spaces you have completely outgrown. Your powerful new assignment starts right now, in this moment of pure clarity, and you will never again lower your divine standards for temporary human affection. For the chosen one whose weary spirit deeply confirmed what was described earlier today, the physical path remains fully open in the description and the pinned comment below. That is the absolute last time it will be mentioned in this message. What follows right now belongs entirely to your beautiful spiritual ceiling, and you can simply let the final moments of this powerful transmission wash over your tired soul. Let this profound peace settle deeply into your physical bones today. Tomorrow morning, you are going to wake up feeling completely different than you have in many long months. The heavy weight that normally sits on your tired chest will be entirely gone. You will proudly take your first deep breath as a liberated soul, and the morning sun will warmly remind you of the incredible victory you achieved today. You no longer have to constantly check your quiet phone for a tiny crumb of their affection. You no longer have to endlessly analyze their confusing silences. You have completely given them back to the loving hands of their ultimate creator. God will perfectly handle their necessary healing timeline while you bravely step forward into your own glorious destiny without carrying their heavy emotional baggage anymore. You have successfully passed the difficult test of profound spiritual surrender. You bravely chose to deeply honor your own soul instead of desperately chasing a temporary human attachment. And heaven is loudly applauding your massive courage right now. You are profoundly loved beyond any human measure or simple earthly understanding today, and you will forever walk in the glorious light of this absolute divine truth. Your ultimate breakthrough is definitely not coming in the distant future. It is already here and actively moving in your beautiful life right now. You are proudly walking forward, knowing you are deeply chosen. You are fully prepared for the massive blessings ahead. And you are exactly where you are supposed to be in this perfect moment, ready to officially receive everything heaven has beautifully prepared for your incredible journey.